Namaste. Have you ever been to a yoga class and you just felt like it was so great? And you could just really feel that every element of the class was planned by the teacher. But at the same time, there was somehow movement and fluidity, and she was, or he, was accepting suggestions and tailoring the class to fit the students' needs. That's kind of what we're going for. We're going for planning and structuring, but still having that complete open mind, open heart, open hands, and being willing to adapt and change at the drop of a hat. So one way that you can really pull a class together beautifully, and it gives you a big margin for error, is by creating a theme for your class. And what this theme does is it begins to sew together all the pieces of your class, the poses, the poetry, the music you've chosen, the spacing and the time and the whole sequence. It puts them together in such a way that if anything were to happen in class, you had to start late, you had to end early, someone was coughing, there were fire trucks going by, some person just busted in the door and interrupted your class. I've had all of these things happen in class, and one way that you can recover from that really well and still give the people just an amazing class is by making sure that there's a theme. This way, the folks feel like they're really held, and that you care about them, and that you've created something beautiful for them. So theming is, I feel, the most important thing. So even if you're still getting a feel for the asanas yourself, and you still feel like you need help with adjustments, and you need help with modifications with props, and you feel like you aren't sure about flow, your theme is the backbone of your class. So begin to get a notebook that's just full of themes for class. And once you start to do this once, twice, 5 times, it will just flow so naturally, and you'll be able to create a theme like that. Sometimes I use the time of year or what's happening in the world. Sometimes I use the seasons. During summer, I'll often use vacation themes. So you can use places. You can have a mountain theme, an ocean theme. You can choose seasons. You can choose feelings. When it's around February, I do a self-love theme. When it's around November, I do a giving and a gratitude theme. So you can sort of use the structure of our schedule, of our calendar of events and seasons, to help kind of find what theme might be needed. Another thing, and this might be too soon to mention, but I'm feeling moved to say this right now. There's a way we are just vessels. We're like an empty straw or a tube, think of it like a metal straw that resonates and vibrates. And we're open on both ends, ready to receive energy from the earth and from the sky. And with that, we've talked a little bit before about receiving message from spirit or from source. And when you're theming your class, even though you're not sure who's going to be taking that particular class, or if you do know which studio you're going to be in, and you are familiar with your students, and you do know who your students will be, you can connect to them, whether you've seen them or not, whether you know who it's going to be or not. There's a way that you can just sort of open yourself to allow that free flow of information and love to kind of inform you on who's going to be in your class and what do they need. What kind of theme do they need? What are they going through? Another way, maybe a little less esoteric way to explain that is, search yourself, search your own psyche and your soma and your emotional body, and decide, like, what's going on for me right now? What's up for me? Am I in a state of grieving? Grieving would be an excellent theme for a class. Loss. And of course, we never want it to be too depressing, but it's really good to have it be real and show people that you can hold both the feeling of loss or grief and inspiration and hope. That dichotomy is actually the whole crux of a warrior training program or a trauma training program or even the 12-step program. Being able to hold what's wonderful and what's really hard at the same time. That's a life skill. That's a trauma skill. That's a coping skill. So we want to embed that into our theme, even if we don't say it, and we aren't going to say it. People don't know the magic that we put into our classes, but they'll feel it. They'll get it. So you can just kind of scan what's up for me. I know for me personally right now, my children are getting older, and especially being home right now, I'm just noticing there's this bittersweet time happening where they're both double digits. Even my baby is 10. My older daughter is a young woman. She's 15 years old. This brings up so much hope and wonder for me. Here's Bo. But it also brings up a lot of kind of sadness. And I don't want it to be any different than it is, but being able to hold on and let go is a beautiful theme that I might shape out of that. And so once you've decided what your theme will be, first you can look at some poems or song lyrics or quotes or books that relate to that theme. And you can share in your opening portion of your class, a paragraph or 2 to 5 minutes of talking about your own experience or about, reading from a book or even talking about a movie that you've seen that really struck you and stuck with you. Once you've done that, you can then start to choose your poses based on your theme. So you can, if you know that you're talking about, let's just stick with holding on and letting go. You can do a lot of heart opening, hand opening poses, and knowing that the hands and the heart are part of the 4th chakra. You can do lots of 4th chakra energizing and opening poses. You could add in the mantra for the 4th chakra, which is Yum. Yum. You can add in the color green to your imagery. You can be sure that every time you're doing heart opening poses, you're also doing shoulder and back opening poses, working with that counter pose, counter pose theming that we've suggested. Along with your theme, after you've created your asana, you can then move into your pranayama for the theme. So let's say that you're doing the theme of letting go and holding on. You could do a breath retention, and you can let go of the breath and hold on to the breath and those kind of things. Then before they go into pratyahara, the 5th limb, before they're going into shavasana, it could be an appropriate time to say another song lyric, very short poem or short excerpt from a book that's related to your theme. And then they sort of drop into their space. After you bring them out of shavasana, you continue the theme as you rise them from their laying posture and bring them into a seat for meditation, and then the meditation can be themed around your theme as well. And this is completely optional. All of this is optional. Do what resonates for you. What I like to do with Namaste after the meditation is sometimes I'll say the light inside me sees the light inside you. And that's its original meaning. But it also means so much more than that. So I might say, the ability to let go inside me sees the ability to let go inside you. And that one's a little mouthy, but I've themed a class around your inner goddess. And so then it was the inner goddess around you sees the inner goddess in me acknowledges the inner goddess in you. So if you were doing a class on lightness and darkness, the darkness inside me honors the darkness inside you, something like that. So with that said, begin to create for yourself a list of possible themes. And they don't have to be so emotional. It can also just be, hey, this is a backbending theme class, or this is a quad strengthening theme class. This is a hamstring lengthening class. This is a, an upper arm strengthening class. This is a hip opener class. Those can also be themes. And that can be wonderful. I like to go a little deeper in my theming, but I'm not you, and you're not me. So you just do what feels right for you, and that's ultimately going to be what just feels the most authentic and wonderful for your students. So have fun with that. Go create some themes.